What if everything you've been told about Lucifer is only half the story? Most Christians know him as Satan, the evil tempter, the fallen angel cast from heaven. But the Bible reveals something far more unsettling about his origin, his beauty, and his tragic fall. Today, I'm uncovering 7 hidden truths about Lucifer that will completely change how you understand spiritual warfare, temptation, and the enemy's tactics against you. The 5th truth will shock you most. Number 1. Lucifer was God's masterpiece of creation. The prophet Ezekiel records something that most Christians never hear preached from the pulpit. In Ezekiel 28, verses 12 through 15, God describes Lucifer before his fall with these stunning words: "You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone adorned you: ruby, topaz, emerald, chrysolite, onyx, jasper, sapphire, turquoise, and beryl. Your settings and mountings were made of gold, and they were prepared on the day you were created. You were anointed as a guardian cherub, for so I ordained you. You were blameless in your ways from the day you were created." Imagine standing before the most radiant being ever created. Not a grotesque red monster with horns and a pitchfork, but a creature so beautiful that every gemstone adorned his form. So wise that he walked in the very presence of God. So perfect that even the angels marveled at his glory. Isaiah 14, verse 12, calls him the morning star, the light bearer, the son of the dawn. This wasn't some ugly demon lurking in shadows. This was perfection itself, crafted by the hand of God to reflect divine glory in ways no other creature could. His very existence was meant to magnify the Creator, and every facet of his being shimmered with holy purpose. But here's what most churches don't emphasize. Lucifer wasn't created evil. He was created perfect, blameless, magnificent, beyond human comprehension. His fall wasn't inevitable. It was a choice, a tragic turning point that would echo through all of human history. Number 2, he was heaven's worship leader. The description in Ezekiel 28, verse 13, includes a fascinating detail that Bible scholars believe reveals Lucifer's specific role in heaven. The Hebrew text mentions the workmanship of your timbrels and pipes, suggesting that musical instruments were somehow built into his very being. Isaiah 14, verse 11 adds another clue, speaking of the sound of your harps being brought down with him in his fall. Picture the throne room of God before sin ever entered creation. Lucifer stands before the Almighty, and from his very being flows perfect music, harmonies no human ear has ever heard, melodies that cause angels to bow in worship, not of him, but through him to the Creator. Every note, every sound, every chord exists for one purpose: to magnify God. Revelation 12, verse 4 tells us that when Lucifer fell, he took a third of the angels with him, suggesting he held tremendous authority and influence in heaven's ranks. This wasn't just any angel. This was the worship leader, the one who directed heaven's praise, the covering cherub who stood in the very presence of God. And this is why worship is such a contested battleground in spiritual warfare today. Satan knows the power of worship because he once wielded it perfectly. He knows how music can usher people into God's presence because that was his created purpose. When he fell, he didn't lose his understanding of worship's power. He simply perverted it, twisting what was meant to glorify God into tools of distraction, deception, and idolatry. This is the hidden truth churches often don't teach. The enemy of your soul was once the conductor of heaven's symphony. But if Lucifer was perfect, beautiful, and created specifically for worship, what could possibly turn such a magnificent being against his Creator? The answer lies in 5 specific words that changed everything, and understanding them will reveal the exact same tactic Satan uses against you today. Number 3, pride destroyed perfection. In Isaiah 14, verses 13 and 14, we find 5 statements that reveal the exact moment perfection crumbled into rebellion. The prophet records Lucifer's thoughts. "You said in your heart, I will ascend to the heavens. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit enthroned on the mount of assembly. I will ascend above the tops of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High." 5 times the phrase "I will" appears. 5 declarations of self-exaltation. 5 moments where Lucifer's focus shifted from "thy will be done" to "my will be done." Ezekiel 28, verse 17, tells us exactly what happened. "Your heart became proud on account of your beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor." Imagine the moment when the light-bearer gazed at his own reflection in the gemstones covering his body, heard the beauty of his own music echoing through heaven's chambers, and thought, "Why should I reflect his glory? I am glorious. Why should I serve when I could rule?" Pride didn't just damage Lucifer. It completely transformed him from the anointed cherub into the adversary, from the morning star into the prince of darkness. Proverbs 16, verse 18 warns us, "Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall." This wasn't a fall from slipping or stumbling. This was a calculated rebellion, born from worship of self instead of worship of God. And here's the chilling truth most Christians miss. The same temptation Lucifer faced is the same temptation he uses on humanity. In the Garden of Eden, the serpent whispered to Eve, "You will be like God," echoing his own prideful ambition. The enemy's primary weapon isn't some exotic spiritual attack. It's the simple, subtle shift from God's will to your own will, from humble worship to proud self-worship. Number 4. He deceived 1/3 of heaven's angels. Lucifer didn't fall alone, and this reality reveals something crucial about his power and his tactics. Revelation 12, verse 4 describes the cosmic rebellion with vivid imagery. His tail swept 1/3 of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. Biblical scholars interpret these stars as angels who joined Lucifer's uprising against God. Think about that for a moment. Picture Lucifer moving through heaven's ranks, whispering to perfect, sinless angels who had only known peace and worship. "Don't you deserve more? Why should we serve when we could rule? God is keeping power and glory from us that should be ours." Somehow, in a realm of absolute perfection, this master deceiver convinced 1/3 of heaven's angelic host to abandon their creator. Revelation 12, verses 7 through 9, continues the account. "There was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven." These fallen angels are what we now call demons, spiritual forces of wickedness that serve Satan's destructive purposes on earth. 2 Peter 2 verse 4 confirms their judgment. "God did not spare angels when they sinned, but sent them to hell, putting them in chains of darkness to be held for judgment." Here's the hidden truth churches rarely emphasize. Satan's tactics haven't changed. The same lie he told angels in heaven's perfection, he tells humans in earth's brokenness. He makes God's love look like oppression, God's boundaries look like restrictions, God's will look like deprivation. He convinced perfect beings in a perfect environment that rebellion was somehow better than worship. How much easier is it for him to deceive broken humans in a fallen world? The war in heaven ended with a violent expulsion, but where Lucifer was cast reveals something most Christians never realize about the battlefield we're standing on right now. Number 5, he was cast to earth, not hell yet. This is the hidden truth that changes everything about how you understand spiritual warfare. Jesus himself witnessed Satan's expulsion, declaring in Luke 10, verse 18, "I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven." But here's what most Christians miss. Satan wasn't cast into hell. He was cast to earth. Revelation 12 verse 9 makes this absolutely clear. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. Read that again. To the earth, not to some distant underworld prison, but right here, where you live, where you work, where you raise your families. Revelation 12, verse 12, adds this sobering warning. Woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has gone down to you. He is filled with fury, because he knows that his time is short. Imagine Lucifer's rage as he's violently expelled from heaven, not to his final destination, but to earth, where God's beloved creation, humanity, dwells. He's here now, prowling this planet with desperate fury because his time is limited, and he knows it. 1 Peter 5, verse 8, describes his current activity. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Matthew 25, verse 41, reveals that hell, the lake of fire, was actually prepared for the devil and his angels as their final judgment. But that judgment hasn't happened yet. Earth is the battlefield. Every morning you wake up, you're in an active war zone. Satan isn't some distant threat in a faraway realm. He's here, operating in the world system, influencing culture, whispering lies, orchestrating deception, and targeting believers with relentless attacks. This is why the Christian life isn't a peaceful stroll through paradise. It's warfare. And the enemy isn't just real. He's present. Number 6. His strategy is accusation, deception, and destruction. Now that you know Satan is here on earth, you need to understand his threefold battle plan against you. Revelation 12, verse 10 identifies his first tactic. For the accuser of our brothers and sisters, who accuses them before our God day and night, has been hurled down. Day and night, constantly, relentlessly, Satan stands before God, pointing at your failures, your sins, your weaknesses, saying, look at them. They're not worthy. They don't deserve grace. Cast them away. But praise God, 1 John 2, verse 1 tells us Jesus is our advocate, our defense attorney, who says, my blood covers them. Satan's second weapon is deception. Jesus describes him in John 8, verse 44. He was a murderer from the beginning, not holding to the truth, for there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is a liar and the father of lies. Lies are his native tongue, and he's fluent. He doesn't usually appear as obvious evil. 2 Corinthians 11, verse 14, warns, Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. He makes sin look appealing, righteousness look restrictive, God's path look narrow-minded, and the world's way look liberating. His third strategy is destruction. John 10, verse 10, contrasts Satan's mission with Christ's. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. Picture Satan in three roles simultaneously. The accuser in heaven's court, pointing at every mistake you've made. The deceiver on earth, whispering lies that sound almost true. Did God really say that? Surely he doesn't mean you can't have that. Everyone else is doing it. And the destroyer, prowling for any opening to steal your joy, kill your purpose, and destroy your relationship with God. This is his playbook, refined over millennia, used successfully since Eden. So if Satan is this powerful, this strategic, this relentless in his attacks against believers, how can we possibly stand against him? The final truth is the most empowering of all, and it's the reason the enemy trembles when you understand it. Number 7, his defeat was guaranteed at the cross. Here's the truth that every believer needs to shout from the rooftops. Satan is a defeated enemy. The battle is already won. Colossians 2 verse 15 declares, And having disarmed the powers and authorities, he made a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them by the cross. When Jesus died on that cross and rose 3 days later, he didn't just defeat sin and death, he crushed Satan's head. Genesis 3, verse 15, contains the first prophecy of this cosmic showdown. God speaking to the serpent in Eden, "He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." Picture the moment at Calvary. Satan thought he'd won when Christ breathed his last. The light of the world was extinguished. The champion was dead. Victory seemed complete. But 3 days later, Jesus walked out of that tomb, holding the keys of death and hell, and in that moment, the serpent's head was crushed fatally. 1 John 3, verse 8 explains why Christ came. The reason the Son of God appeared was to destroy the devil's work. Past tense. Destroyed. Finished. Done. Yes, Satan still prowls. Yes, he still attacks. But he's a defeated enemy with an expiration date, and he knows it. James 4, verse 7 gives believers this promise. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. He must flee, because greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world. Revelation 20, verse 10, seals Satan's fate. And the devil who deceived them was thrown into the lake of burning sulfur, where the beast and the false prophet had been thrown. They will be tormented day and night forever and ever. His judgment is certain. His doom is sealed. His time is short. You're not fighting for victory. You're fighting from victory. Christ already won. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now.